Okay, Year 8. Today's tutorial will be on converting fractions as percentages. Okay, so fractions as percentages. What are they? Well, why would we convert a fraction to a percentage? It's easier to compare different values if they are written as percentages. A fraction of a quantity can be written by a percentage simply by changing it to a number out of 100. Once we do that, the numerator is simply our percentage, okay? So it's really quite straightforward. Let's have a look at a few different examples. Okay, I'll have a look at an example of 1 on 10. Now, to convert this to a percentage, what I am able to do is I'm able to multiply it by 100%. How I do that? Multiply it by 100 on 1 as a percentage. Okay, it's really quite straightforward. I make sure when I'm multiplying by my fractions, I always check to see if I can cross simplify. And in this case, I can with 10 and 100. Okay, the highest common factor within 10 and 100 is 10. 10 goes into 10 once and into 100 10 times. So my answer comes out as 10 on 1 as a percentage. Another way of writing 10 on 1 as a percentage is 10%. Okay, guys, it's really pretty straightforward. Okay, let's have a look at another example. Not 1 on 10. I'll get something a little bit more tricky this time. Oh, this doesn't want to delete. There we go. Okay, let's have a look at an example that isn't really all that straightforward. Let's have a look at an example of 5/8. Let's convert 5/8 to a percentage. So 5/8, multiply that by 100%. Okay, let's do this. 5/8 multiplied by 100%. Now again, I check to see if I can cross simplify. In this case, I can. My highest common factor, if I work it out between 8 and 100, these are the two I can cross simplify. It's 4. 4 goes into 8. 4 goes into 8 twice and into 125 times. Then I simply perform my operation. 5 multiplied by 25 gives me 125. Okay. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. Now, we have a bit of a problem. Okay. 125 on 2 is an improper fraction. How do we convert an improper fraction to a mixed numeral? How many times does 2 go into 125? Well, when I work it out, it comes out at 62 with 1 remainder. So my 1 remainder goes there and it goes over 2. So my answer becomes 62.5%. Now, guys, this is actually revision from something that we have already done. Okay, so if this is looking a bit confusing, you might want to go back to the converting tutorial. Let's have a look at one last example. Okay, let's have a look at 1/7. Okay, 1/7, and then we'll go, 1/7 multiplied by 100%. Okay, 1/7 multiplied by 100%. Now, I know 7 is a prime number, and so I can't actually cancel. So my answer becomes 100 on 7. Now, if I divide, 100 on 7. Again, as a percentage. Okay, now this is becoming a little bit tricky, okay? My problem here is, again, it's an improper fraction. And if I work it out, 7 goes into 100 14 times with a remainder of 2. And then I put that over 7 and I write it as a percentage. Okay, so my answer becomes 14 2/7%. 14 2/7%. Okay, I'm going to have a look at an example here of 1 on 10. Now, my definition said that I can change a fraction to a percentage by multiplying the fraction by 100%. Now, if I just go 1 on 10 multiplied by 100%, without my calculator, I can't really do anything there. So instead of writing it just straight 100%, when I write a fraction with my numerator as a whole number and 1 as my denominator, that is equivalent to 1 of my numerator. So if I wanted to express 4 wholes, I can write it as 4 on 1. If I wanted to express 3 wholes, I can write it as 3 on 1. When my denominator is 1, it means the numerator as a whole number, okay? So percent means out of 100. So I can actually express 100% as 100 over 1 percentage sign. And that then means I've got 2 fractions and I've got a multiplication symbol. So I can actually perform an operation. Now, the thing to pay attention to here, guys, is remember to cross simplify. So always check there and there to see if you can simplify either of those two, which I can actually in this example. So, let me just rub that out because that looks messy. And I'll put that back in. Okay, so I've got 10 here and I've got 100. And I can actually simplify that so I don't have to simplify at the end. How do I do that? Well, highest common factor between 10 and 100 is 10. 10 goes into 10 once and into 100 10 times. So my answer then becomes 1 multiplied by 10, 10, 1 multiplied by 1, 1 as a percentage. Like I said before, if my denominator is 1, that means my numerator is a whole. So 10 on 1% is equivalent to 10%. It's really quite straightforward, guys. That's how I that's how I convert a fraction into a percentage. Let's look at another example that's a bit more tricky. Let's try 5/8. And again, if I hit 5/8 multiplied by 100%, I can't really do too much. But if I write that percentage as a fraction while remaining a whole, 100 over 1%, I can actually do something. Again, we cross simplify. So we go, my highest common factor between 8 and 100 is 8 doesn't go into 100 as a whole number. No, 8 doesn't go into 100. Okay, let's try half of 8. 4. 4 goes into 8. Yeah. Yep, okay, so my answer is 4. 4 goes into 8 twice and goes into 125 times. So I come out with an answer of equals 125 on 2%. This is a bit tricky this time. Now, it's no longer written as 1. So my answer's not 125%. It's actually half of it. And I know when I look at this, it's an improper fraction. So I'm going to convert this improper fraction into a mixed numeral. Why do I know how to do that? Because I've already learnt it in a previous lesson. So 2 goes into 125 62 times with a remainder of 1 and over 2, because my remainder goes as my numerator in my mixed numeral and my denominator stays the same. And I make sure that's 62.5%. Okay? 62.5%. That's 5/8 as a percentage. Let's look at the last example. Let's look at another example. I will say 1/7. Again, 1/7, I can't just multiply it by 100%. So I'm going to write my 100% in another form, in a fractional form. Okay? And again, I make sure to see if I can cross simplify. Got a 7, that's a prime number, so I can't. So my answer becomes 100 on 7%. And again, my answer has come out as an improper fraction. So all I need to simply do is convert this improper fraction to a mixed numeral. So I ask myself, how many times does 7 go into 100? 70, 10 times, and then I can add another 4. Okay, so that's 28. Okay, cool. So I know that it goes into 100 98 times. Okay, 14 times. So that's 98, which would leave me with a remainder of 2/7%. 14 and 2/7%. Okay, that's converting an improper fraction into a mixed numeral percentage. Converting 1/7 into a percentage leaves me with a mixed numeral as my percent. Okay, let's have a look at another example. So it says a survey showed that 3 out of 15 Gilroy students rated maths as the best subject. Should have been higher than that. Anyway, what percentage of Gilroy students said this? Okay, so 3 out of 15 students said this. 3 out of 15, okay? Now I need to show this as a percentage. So again, I can't do anything, so I write my percentage like this, 101%. So now I can actually do something with it. Okay, let's check to see if I can cross simplify 15 and 100. 15 and 100, highest common factor, 3, no. 5. Okay, 5 goes into 15 3 times, goes into 100 20 times. Now something interesting has happened. If you have a look at my first fraction, it says 3 on 3. If I ever get a fraction that has 2 on 2, 4 on 4, 1 on 1, if my numerator and my denominator are the same, that means that 1 part makes up the whole and I've got 1 part. 4 parts make up the whole and I've got 4 parts. 2 parts make up the whole and I've got 2 parts. So I have a whole, okay? I actually have a whole. So I can actually simplify, I'm actually able to simplify, 3 on 3 to, I'll just rub this out. Oh, no I can't. Super fun times. I can actually simplify 3 on 3 to 1 on 1 to make my multiplication simpler, because I can have any number on there. I can have 6 on 6, 3 on 3, and they will all be equivalent to the same thing. So I can actually, for the sake of this multiplication, make it a bit more simpler by changing it to 1 on 1, because they all represent the same thing. So then I can simply go 1 multiplied by 1 is 20, 1 multiplied by 20 is 20, 1 multiplied by 1 is 20 on 1. Let me just delete all of this. I think I might write this again for you guys, just really briefly, because that got quite messy there with that stuff I couldn't rub out. So I had 3 on 15 multiplied by 100 on 1 as a percent. I cross-simplified and got 320. I simplified these for the sake of my fraction and got 1 on 1. 1 multiplied by 20 is 20. 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. So when you recognize 20 on 1%, you know that if anything is on 1, it means itself as a whole. So it would become 20%. So 20% of Gilroy students said that maths was the best subject. That's my answer. Okay? It's pretty straightforward. Just making sure that in order to do anything, we always need to multiply by 100 on 1 as a fraction. Then I can perform my basic multiplication.